You know that nagging feeling? The one where you're stuck, watching your life slip away while you scroll aimlessly through your phone or binge watch another series? You think to yourself, tomorrow I'll start being productive. Tomorrow I'll finally get it together. Tomorrow comes, and you're stuck in the same rut. You're tired of feeling like you're constantly losing the battle to procrastination. You're not alone. But here's the kicker. Destroying procrastination isn't about waiting for the right motivation. It's about using some counterintuitive strategies that might just blow your mind. Ready to optimize your existence and finally conquer that procrastination monster? Let's dive in. Procrastination often feels like an insurmountable wall. But what if I told you the secret to breaking it down is by lowering the barrier? Start by making the task so easy, it's almost ridiculous not to do it. Think about it. Instead of convincing yourself to read an entire book on philosophy, why not start with just one paragraph? This approach leverages the power of discipline and self-improvement without overwhelming you. It's like taking a tiny step towards personal development, focusing on growth rather than sprinting headlong into a marathon. Here's a trick. Apply the concept of essentialism. Cut out all the non-essential steps that make starting a task seem daunting. Want to dive into Nietzsche or Schopenhauer? Begin with a single quote or a short article rather than committing to an entire book. This reduces the mental barrier, making your journey into existentialism more manageable. Remember, the key is to optimize your existence, one small, easy-to-digest piece at a time. Personal growth and self-knowledge go hand in hand here. By starting small, you're not just ticking off a task, you're learning about your triggers and patterns. Why do you hesitate? What makes you anxious about starting? Use these insights to build a routine that gradually increases in complexity as your confidence grows. This isn't just about overcoming procrastination. It's about self-development on a deeper level. Need an example? Think of someone trying to start a digital detox. Instead of going cold turkey, they might begin by setting a timer for 10 minutes of no phone time. Sounds simple, right? But that small action builds momentum, leading to bigger breaks from digital distractions and improving mental well-being. This approach doesn't just attack procrastination, it's a holistic way to enhance focus and discipline. The beauty of lowering the barrier is that it builds confidence over time. By starting small, you're proving to yourself that you can do it. And that feeling? It's addictive. Soon, those tiny steps turn into strides, and before you know it, you're sprinting. But don't worry, we're just getting started. Speaking of steps, let's talk about making them even shorter and more manageable in the next section. Imagine procrastination as a towering brick wall. Now what if I told you that by breaking your tasks into smaller chunks, you could shrink that wall into a tiny, manageable step? That's the essence of shorter tasks, turning a mountain into a molehill. Instead of overwhelming yourself with a giant, intimidating task, break it down into bite-sized pieces. Start with just 5 minutes of focused effort on personal development. It's like chipping away at a massive wall, one brick at a time. Let's say you want to explore Stoicism or delve into the works of Marco Aurelio. Instead of committing to an hour of deep reading, try a 5-minute session. This not only makes the task seem less daunting, but also ensures you're gradually immersing yourself in philosophy without the pressure. It's about finding a balance between focus on growth and mental well-being, all while inching closer to personal success. Think of a friend who wanted to improve their social skills, but felt overwhelmed by the thought of endless social interaction. Instead of diving headfirst into a networking event, they started by having a 5-minute conversation with a colleague each day. Over time, these shorter tasks built confidence and drastically improved their ability to connect with others. This approach can work wonders for self-improvement by turning what feels like a massive leap into a series of small, manageable steps. Remember, it's not about doing it all at once. It's about consistent, incremental progress. These smaller tasks help you stay proactive, maintaining your momentum without burning out. It's like training for a marathon, by running short distances daily rather than attempting the entire race unprepared. Principle here is that small, consistent actions accumulate over time, leading to substantial personal growth and development. And here's the kicker. When you achieve these smaller goals, you get a little dopamine hit. a natural reward that encourages you to keep going. So let's explore how to leverage this natural brain chemistry to boost motivation and crush procrastination in the next section. Have you ever noticed how a tiny reward can motivate you to keep going? That's the magic of increased rewards. By offering yourself faster or more frequent rewards, you can trick your brain into wanting to start tasks, making the process of self-improvement a bit more enticing. Imagine this. Every time you finish a small task, you give yourself a quick dopamine hit, like checking off an item on a habit tracker. This makes you feel good, reinforces positive behavior, and makes you want to keep going. Let's break this down with a practical example. Say you're working on building discipline and want to incorporate digital minimalism into your daily routine. Instead of setting a goal to go without your phone for hours, start with short intervals, like 10 minutes of focus followed by a 2-minute break, where you check off your progress on a digital detox tracker. This quick reward system not only motivates you to stay on track, but also helps reduce anxiety about going offline for extended periods. Here's a story. A friend of mine wanted to learn about Nietzsche and Schopenhauer to dive deeper into existentialism, found it hard to commit to long reading sessions. So they created a checklist and allowed themselves a treat: a cup of coffee or a short walk after every 20-minute reading session. This small, immediate reward made the task more enjoyable and less overwhelming, turning philosophy from a chore into a delight. It's about optimizing your existence by making personal development fun and rewarding. The concept is simple. By breaking tasks into smaller chunks and rewarding yourself frequently, you make the task more engaging and less daunting. This approach taps into your brain's natural desire for quick gratification, keeping you motivated and focused on growth. You're not just fighting procrastination, you're hacking your brain's reward system to work for you, making each step toward self-improvement a bit more rewarding. So next time you're struggling to start, think about how you can create small, frequent rewards, keep you going. The real trick, understanding the psychology behind this, can make all the difference. And speaking of psychology, let's explore how to use psychological tricks to lower the work barrier and keep that momentum rolling in the next section. Here's a little secret. Your mind can be your greatest ally or your worst enemy when it comes to beating procrastination. But with a few psychological tricks up your sleeve, you can turn the tables and make your brain work for you. One of the best ways to do this is by lowering the work barrier even further and adding quick, satisfying rewards. Think about it. If you make it so easy and rewarding to start a task, it becomes almost irrational not to. It's all about making that first step feel like a no-brainer. Let's say you're struggling to get started with some heavy personal development reading on existentialism. You know you want to dive into those deep thoughts of Nietzsche and Schopenhauer, but the idea feels like climbing a mountain. Instead of pushing yourself to read for hours, trick your brain by setting a timer for just 5 minutes. That's right, just 5 minutes. Your brain thinks, 5 minutes? That's nothing. Once you start, you're more likely to continue beyond those initial 5 minutes. It's a psychological trick that lowers the barrier to entry, making it easier to dive into complex topics. Now, combine this with the idea of rewarding yourself. Every time you complete that short task, check off a box on your to-do list or habit tracker. That simple action gives your brain a dopamine hit, a small reward that feels good and makes you want to keep going. The satisfaction of ticking off a task, no matter how small, reinforces the behavior, making it easier to keep moving forward. You're essentially training your brain to associate self-improvement and discipline with pleasure, rather than pain. A friend of mine used this trick to improve their social skills. They set a goal to start one conversation with a stranger every day. Instead of feeling anxious about it, they focused on the reward, a sense of accomplishment, and a checkmark on their tracker. Over time, their confidence grew, and what once seemed like a daunting task became second nature. This is the power of using psychological tricks to reframe tasks in a way that makes them easier and more rewarding. By leveraging these tricks, you can change your relationship with tasks that seem challenging. It's not about avoiding the task, it's about reprogramming your mind to see it different. And with these tools, you're well on your way to becoming a more proactive, disciplined person. Now, let's wrap this up by discussing how these strategies fit together, create a holistic approach to defeating procrastination once and for all.